Welcome back to the 4 to 7 pod. Chris and Jerry. We are on to the variety segments of the show for this week. First up, we got to start with this Rafael Devers trade that shook the baseball world late Sunday night. Fresh off of sweeping the Yankees and shutting them out in back-to-back games, the Red Sox inexplicably decided to trade Rafael Devers to the San Francisco Giants in exchange for not a whole lot. They got starting pitcher Kyle Harrison and another starting pitcher Jordan Hicks. They got a rookie right-handed pitcher Jose Bello and an outfield prospect James Tibbs III, who I don't think was any sort of don't think he was like a top prospect by any means.
I want to say he went in the first round of the draft last year. I think I could be wrong on that. I will check that right now. But yeah, that there were people that were saying like this might be worse than what they got back for Mookie, and
that ended up pretty bad.
I kind of agree.
I actually think this trade might have the potential to age a little bit better than the Mookie trade. Just because it was very bad. I think it'll be hard. I think it'll be hard to be worse. But
this one just feels more inexplicable because it's like, okay, well, they weren't going to pay him. You could have done better, but in this case, it's like even if I don't agree with the concept of, well, we weren't going to pay him, it's like, well, you should. You paid Devers. You just took care of this.
Yeah, you just paid Devers. So you have him under contract through the 2033 season. You have a plethora of great prospects coming out. Like, I'm pretty sure the Red Sox have one of, if not the best prospect pool in MLB right now, which pains me to say, but it is the truth. So, even if you're not going for it this year, like you currently do hold a wild card spot somehow. You made the go for, you made like the let's try to win now move when trading for Crochet. So to trade your best everyday hitter really just doesn't make sense. I'm glad they did it, and I'm very happy to not have to see him, in Yankee Stadium or Fenway Park anymore. I'm sure Garrett Cole is very happy too. Then when he sees him in 2026, it'll be, for like one series instead of 12 games.
It'll just be this.
It'll just be this and a point to first base. I'm sure he'll be
the guy that the Red Sox got in this deal that was in the draft last year. He was the pick immediately after the Red Sox. So they got a guy back that they weren't even all that interested in drafting in the first place.
Yeah, like they could have just had him. Yeah, so that's another layer of irony added to the situation. And I understand that Devers seems like he was upset with the organization. He only wanted to play third base. Then he was a DH. Then he didn't want to play. He didn't want to play first base. And then, I think when they wanted him to come back to play third base, he just didn't want to play the field at all. He was apparently mad that I believe it was Tristan Cassis got hurt.
Yes.
And then he was mad that who was it? Calais Campbell was like
Christian Campbell.
Christian Campbell. Yeah, Calais Campbell.
Calais Campbell in the field. That's a hell of a visual.
Yeah. My mistake. But Christian, Tristan Cat, it's the Christian and the Tristan that threw me off. But Tristan Cassis goes down with that injury. They asked Devers if he could learn first base. He says no, and then Christian Campbell's like, hey, I'll learn first base. I will play for this team. And then that apparently made Devers mad. And then he goes to San Francisco and he's just like, oh, I'll play wherever they want me to play.
Which is funny because, one, I think he knew, like, well, they're not going to make me play third when they already have, like, the best defensive third baseman in the league. Like, they're not doing that. But it's fair to say with every new little bit of information that's come out this week, it's like, oh, well, I didn't know that. Okay, that's reasonable. And it's like the Red Sox were mad at Devers for, like, not doing, like, the obligations that when you're the guy that signs that contract,
obligations.
and I get the people are like, but he's doing the thing that they pay him to do, which is to hit the baseball. Understood. But also it's like, yeah, if you're going to sign that kind of contract, like, for better or worse,
and
like,
you're like
you're
the face
guy.
of the franchise. Yeah.
But also I understand, like, okay, yeah, my whole career you've played me at third base no matter what. Now it's an issue. And the latest thing I think I saw today was basically that he was okay playing first. He just didn't want it to be like, well, no, but you're over here now. You're over here. Actually, we want you. Like, he was just like, if you're gonna put me at first, I'm staying at first. I'm not just gonna be going back and forth all the time. And I guess he got the sense from the team that
they were gonna dilly-dally around with him,
that they weren't committed to that. And he's like, well, why am I gonna do that? I think the one thing I probably would disagree with on Devers the most is, like, why are you getting pissed off at the kid? Like, that's what a rookie does. He's supposed to be the guy to be like, all right, I'll do it if you need. Like, he's supposed to take initiative. That's how you earn goodwill with your teammates. And
a rookie that's trying to prove themselves and make it in the league, like, you're gonna do whatever's asked of you.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of dickish. Like be mad at the front office, fine, no qualms with that. But it's like, this guy's trying to make his name in the league. Like, that's what you do.
Yeah, and then apparently there was a whole lot of drama behind it. Like, David Ortiz said that he was, like, trying to reach out but couldn't get through to him. Pedro Martinez said that it was David Ortiz's fault that he got traded. So not sure what all is going on there. But
and someone Coley Mick, who I do follow, said pretty well, it's like, David Ortiz acting like he just always put his head down and was a good soldier here. It's just objectively not true.
Yeah,
he was always doing this with the front office. Always. He was always doing 1-year deals. It's just amazing to me that it's like, okay, yeah, so you got the first round pick. It's like, but we know the Giants have other young, like Bryce Eldridge is one of the top guys right now. They turn out good pitching all the time. Like, not even talking about Lincecum and in that whole era. They developed Logan Webb, like, who, knock on wood, might actually still have a shot to win the Cy Young this year. Better than my AL Rookie of the Year pick, as it turns out. That will not be happening. But the Red Sox seemed more intent on, well, we just want to get the contract off the books. And this was another thing I saw that was pretty fascinating. The Betts and Devers trades are kind of more alike than you realize. Both of them were made by first-year GMs that were basically trying to undo something that the last GM did or didn't do. They very clearly were like, we're washing our hands of this contract. We don't think it's a good idea. When 18 months ago and a different GM, they did. Dombrowski didn't take care of Betts. So Chaim Bloom was like, well, my superiors are not going to pay him. I might as well do this. And someone said, this is why you should exercise patience with your GM, because this happens. Also, shout out to the Giants for taking Rafael Devers off the Red Sox book so Liverpool could go get Florian Wirtz. Appreciate you.
Yeah. There's always a corresponding move, since all that money is tied up in different organizations now.
That's right.
So it does seem that the Red Sox do tend to and the Fenway also owns the Penguins. So I'm just not a fan of Fenway Sports Group, although No beef with Liverpool, but
put her there.
Yeah. If anything, I'd be if I was a soccer fan, Liverpool would actually like be my team. But it's just I don't know. I just haven't really gotten into it. But anywho,
it's just got to be immensely frustrating where it's like I know they had wanted this organization to spend the money, and it's like, okay, well, cool. At least we're gonna have Devers here for the next 10 years, and then to just do a 180 on that, it's like. So if the ownership was okay writing this check 18 months ago and the production hasn't really dropped, I think they said statistically right now he's on pace for career best. Now, that will change hitting in San Francisco, and I do think that is something worth considering is he's going from being in Fenway Park 81 times a year and getting to hit, I mean, this isn't even shots at you guys, but like hitting in a hitter-friendly park like Yankee Stadium.
Camden Yards, pretty
and Camden Yards.
Too.
And Steinbrenner Field as well.
Steinbrenner Field, same dimensions as Yankee Stadium.
Yeah,
I feel like Toronto's pretty like neutral. Like,
yeah,
it's like not too pitcher heavy or hitter heavy. It's kind of just a good ballpark.
So 81 games now at Oracle. Dodger Stadium, I would say maybe a little bit more in the direction of pitcher friendly. I wouldn't say it's San Fran, but it's
slightly leans towards pitcher, but I think it's pretty balanced.
Arizona
Petco I think is probably a little more leans towards the pitcher.
Yeah. More it's tougher for right-handers to hit there, but I wouldn't say it's easy for left-handers to hit there.
Yeah.
And then Arizona,
although I did see like an overlay of all his home runs and like if they were at Oracle Park, and it looks like a lot of them still went into the McCovey Cove.
True. Well, and then we also forget he will have the benefit of going to Colorado multiple times a year. So
yeah, he'll get like 6 or however many games in Colorado. So,
ooh, buddy.
Yeah.
This should help.
Colorado though, they have like 15 wins now.
I want to say they've just completed a second sweep.
Oh, they have 17
I believe
wins
they swept
now.
the Nats.
Yeah. They got their own problems too.
Which is to say this, and maybe we've brought this up on the show, so stop me if I have. But I know I'm not the first person to say this, especially recently. But this shows you how hard assembling a roster is that Washington, for all intents and purposes, aced the Soto trade. Gore's legit.
Yeah.
What is very legit. Abrams is going to be a multi-time All-Star, it looks like. And they just called Robert Hassel up, and the young pitcher that was in that deal, Harlan Susana, is at Double-A and shoving. So he'll probably be up in the next year. Like they've got, and I believe I credit my friend Tyler Stover who sent me this. We're gonna try to get him on the show soon. But those three have combined for 8.4 WAR this year. Including those three, the Nationals combined have 8.8 WAR this year. So even nailing the biggest trade in your history, look where.
Yeah, they need to they need to fire Davey Martinez. Especially after like whatever the fuck he just said the other night, where he was like, "Oh, it's never on the coaching." Like that's a way to that's really a way to win over a locker room.
That is daring a front office to fire you.
Your fault.
By the way, I just want to point this out because it'll piss me off until the Mets win one. The 2019 could have been us, and it wasn't. This is Davey Martinez by year as manager of the Nationals. 82-80, 93-69 in 2019 when they won, which, as I'm sure everyone knows by now, they were 19-31 at one point.
Yep.
And then 26-34 in the 60-game season, 65-97, 55-107, 71-91, 71-91, and now, if I have this correctly, let me pull up the Nationals record now, 30-44.
Yeah.
It's almost like 2019 was an all-time horseshoe year.
Yeah. Yeah, they caught lightning in a bottle, and they Yeah, they lost 11 games in a row now, but yeah, they caught lightning in a bottle that year. The Dodgers choked in the playoffs like they do, and they kind of rode that wave the rest of the way. And Soto was hitting out of his mind as like a 19-year-old kid.
If Trent Grisham doesn't make the error, that there's a butterfly effect for you.
Yeah.
Because, not that Soto didn't keep hitting after that. Obviously, he did. But I think that postseason was where casual baseball fans were like, oh, he's great.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think, that was like where that was, I think that was when I started to realize, like, oh, shit, like, this guy's really fucking good. Like, they don't need Bryce Harper. They have Juan Soto.
No. It like just shows you, like, you can get that part right, and
it still doesn't equate to success all the time.
Because equally as important, they blew the Scherzer Trey Turner trade because they thought Keibert Ruiz was going to be their everyday, above average starting catcher. That hasn't happened, and they thought Josiah Gray was going to be a frontline starter. That hasn't happened. So that's one of those. This is why when you tear down or you're tanking and you make those deals, this is why the emphasis on getting it right is so important. Because if you don't, now you're out the young talent, and you don't have those chips where it's like, oh, well, we'll just try it on the next deal. You only have but so many of those guys to deal, and then when you're out of them, then what? And this is why you see that.
Yeah, once you're out of trades to make, you're kind of just, you got to lay in the bed that you made. And to this point, it hasn't worked out for them. I would say, probably the next logical step would be for them to fire the manager, because that seems to be the problem. And then if that doesn't fix it, then, you figure it out from there. But a little impromptu rambling on the Nats and how much they suck right now. But the Rafael Devers trade, it was definitely shocking. The timing was shocking. A lot about it was shocking, although it does seem like it was something that was kind of in the works for a while. I think I saw some people kind of comparing it to the Luka trade. I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go that far, because it's like with Luka, you were in the NBA Finals with Luka in Dallas, and you go from, and then you just decide inexplicably to trade him to a team in your conference that you're going to be competing with.
And the other big difference being is that it seems like Dallas only talked with the Lakers about this.
Yeah. It seems like there's a lot more conspiracy theories going on with that, which I think is a great segue, because
real quickly, one of the teams apparently that did call Boston, the Braves, and if that trade had gone down, there would be no show, because I would still be screaming in abject horror. I think I said the other day that for our next episode we could just scream in abject horror for 2.5 hours and it would suffice as an episode. Still might.
But speaking of conspiracy theories and LA and what have you, Shohei Ohtani made his return to the mound the other night. I think that was what was that? I think it was 2 nights ago. He pitched for the first time. It was Monday night, I believe. He went back to the bump as an opener. And I don't know how I don't know how caught up or how up on this you are, but he had a 1 inning, gave up a run, nothing nothing too he wasn't dominant, which pretty much I think I suggested on that last episode that they should bring him out of the pen, and I'm going to consider him to be a bullpen pitcher, because at least for now, because he was the opener, he was not the starter for that game. He only pitched 1 inning, but so Shohei Ohtani's back pitching, and I don't know how caught up you are on this, but there are some conspiracy theories going on amongst Dodger fans, or these people actually may have some people may have actually like resigned their fandom of the Dodgers because of everything that's going on in LA with
I've heard about this.
with the ice and the protests and everything surrounding that. The Dodgers have been stunningly silent about the issue. Well, I shouldn't say stunningly, but it's definitely a slap in the face to their fans because so much of their fan base is like the Latino community.
Yeah,
that's
a different situation.
And they love to make Lost Dodgers, Lost Dodgers shirts, and they love to basically do what they can to celebrate their heritage when it's profitable to them. But then when their people are getting snatched off the street and stuff like that, they can't say anything. Like not even they can't even be like even without making a political statement, they can't even be like, oh, like we hope and pray for like everyone's safety, or we pray for everyone that's affected by what's going on. They're like, I think the only person on the team that's spoken out has been Kike Hernandez. He was the only one who like made like any sort of statement on it. So
and then add to the fact that they had Pride Night either last Thursday or Friday, and the LA is in the Pride colors. And Kershaw had a Bible verse right next to it.
Yeah.
And apparently that Bible verse is heavily used by homophobic right-wing groups, which naturally. And then there was the anthem singer the other night who sang it in Spanish. And
she got
apparently
banned.
They banned her.
Yeah.
So it's like there's all this going on.
Yeah. And like I think the Padres had like a Mexican band perform the anthem, and they sung it in Spanish, and that was no issue. So yeah, it's definitely not a good look for the Dodgers right now. Although I did see a conspiracy theory that basically they were rushing Ohtani's timeline to pitch sooner so that they could distract everyone, like kind of as a PR move to distract everyone from the bad PR that they were getting like from this situation. I think that's a little bit of a reach, to be honest. I think all the criticisms are valid, but I don't think Shohei Ohtani necessarily has anything to do with this. And also I don't think that, a multi-billion-dollar corporation like the Dodgers, because that's what they are at the end of the day, I don't think they're going to jeopardize their $700 million investment just because like they're getting some bad PR. Because unfortunately, we live in a world of short memories, and like what's going on this week, next week we're going to be on some other, something completely different. Like that's just kind of the world we live in, especially with like, the climate we live in too. So I don't think they would be like, oh, let's just rush Ohtani back because we're, kind of getting a bad rep right now. I think that everything about that was kind of normal. He came back, he pitched one inning. He looked a little shaky, but honestly also got kind of unlucky. Probably should have gotten out of that inning without giving up a run. But yeah, I don't think a team is going to like jeopardize that, especially because it's like if Shohei Ohtani, we discussed it, like if he needs a third Tommy John, then what? So yeah, I don't know. I think that might be a bit of a reach, but yeah, the rest
I feel like that's something that gets brought up a lot when we start talking about teams and companies with causes and stuff, is that, or if you really want to affect change, you mess with the money. And I don't think the Dodgers would be, especially if they're paying him this much and they're going to have to owe him that much for as long as they're scheduled to. You're not going to jeopardize that and especially if he's going to throw one inning, you have that night where all the oxygen gets taken away from the other stories, but then it's like, oh, we threw one inning. Yeah, okay. People will go right back to the other stuff. So yeah, I think the past 10 years has taught us to be very cynical about stuff like this, to where someone brings a theory like that together and it's, with kind of how rotten things are, is that plausible? Sure.
Yeah.
But also, again, for what the Dodgers paid for him, I don't think they want this whole thing to blow up to make sure that they got him in for one inning just because they wanted some stuff to go away. And also, it's not like the Dodgers haven't had, bad PR before during this era. Like they didn't do any crazy stunts when they had Trevor Bauer on their team when all this came out.
Yeah.
They went right along with it. They've had Julio Urias suspended twice.
Yep.
Just kept on trucking. And those were some pretty heinous things that were directly involving players of their team. Now, obviously, the Kershaw thing is one thing, but to have pretty heinous acts committed by your players and just be like, nope, we're not even acknowledging this. That's one thing. And they just were like, no, we're just going to keep playing ball. Like, we're just not even touching this. Yeah. But to kind of dip your toes into this, so to speak, where it's like, you're fine with Kershaw doing that. You ban the anthem singer as all this other stuff is going on in your city. And to your point, and I kind of don't think this gets talked about enough, is the Dodgers really love playing up, their history with the Latin community, which already has a crazy backstory in its own when you know how Dodger Stadium was built. And it's so
it was basically built on like stolen land.
Yeah, all of this is in the DNA of your team. And when they need you, I'm sure they're not expecting you to go be out there fighting with them. But at least show them something that it's like
a little solidarity.
Yeah. We don't just see you as a dollar sign. You help make up who we are.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they definitely fell short, and they definitely, they fell short in the moment. They didn't read the room. And they definitely deserve the criticism. If fans decide they don't want to support them anymore because of that, or they want to boycott them, I do support that. And I have heard talks of people trying to organize boycotts of the Dodgers. Unfortunately, I'll say that, I don't think it'll necessarily succeed. I don't think and if there have been any boycotts, I at least haven't noticed it from what I've seen of their games. It looks like their stadium's still always pretty full. I don't know.
I mean, I get it for the people who can do it, but it's like one of those things, you could be someone who absolutely is on that side and support that cause and be like, yeah, I think that's a good thing. But it's also, I got two kids who love Mookie and Shohei. And what am I going to do? Maybe I'm too young to show them why these things are wrong. But I could also teach my kids to be good people.
Yeah,
that's a hard thing to balance. I get that.
It's this could mean having a very difficult conversation with your kid about we had to give up our season tickets to the Dodgers, and there's some real fucked up shit going on in the world, son. Type, they might not be,
and they might not be ready for that.
Yeah. So that's understandable. Personal circumstances always play a big role in those things. But yeah,
you can have an attachment to a player who may not have those views, and you may be like, hey, well, this player has brought me joy for X number of years. I'm gonna stop watching the Dodgers, and I'm gonna stop going to Dodger games because Clayton Kershaw wrote a Bible verse, or they did this. That doesn't take away from the joy that they've brought me, or that this player's, or it's like, hey, I know this player is a good citizen. I know that they do worthy things. Just because some people that share the same uniform as him don't do the same things, I'm not going to turn my back on that guy who is.
That's true.
It's a balancing act, and I understand.
I would say if you're going to a Dodger game at this point, go for Kike.
Yeah. If you want to say, hey, I want to be in support of him, that's someone I can get behind. Absolutely get that.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, I wanted to I felt it deserved to be I felt it like that deserved to be talked about, and just kind of wanted to try and debunk the conspiracy a little bit. But what else do we have to discuss? So our I guess our last topic. Well, before we do this, I did want to just ask you real quick. What do you think about the dead balls? Like there's a lot of talk about the baseballs being manipulated, and just wanted to see if you had any thoughts on it.
I've kind of been of the belief since probably about the first 2 weeks of the season, where early on, okay, it's not warmed up yet. Guys are still getting into game shape. But even then, there were a few well-hit balls where you're like, that should be out.
Yeah.
Dying 10 feet short of the track. And you're just like, maybe we just need the weather to warm up. Let's give it some time. But something doesn't seem right. And here we are. It's June 19th as we record right now, and it's still happening. So when McCutchen,
it has been disclosed information, or in some areas,
or I don't know if he disclosed information or if he just told us what he knew. But when that came out over the weekend, I said, I knew it. I knew something was off.
Yeah, no, it definitely makes sense. Like that something's off with the balls. And yeah, like I think Cody Bellinger had a hit he hit a ball the other night that like died at the warning track. It's like, oh man, like I thought that was about to be 10 rows deep, especially here at Yankee Stadium, but it just died down. So something to do with like the stitching of the seams where the ball's just not traveling as well, or it just dies at like the last second. I don't know. I kind of wish, and I'm sure the players probably feel the same way. Like I bet even pitchers probably, even if it's advantageous to them, maybe they even probably wish like that they would just stop fucking with the balls.
Well, yeah, especially if you're a pitcher and you don't know. And I think McCutchen had that information because I think he's like a top player rep. So he's probably privy to more information than even the average major leaguer is. But yeah, if you're a pitcher, like you want to know, like when you're gripping the ball well, it's like, okay, am I going to be able to use my slider as well tonight? Because I know, like every pitcher that talked during the whole spider tack thing and like really went into detail about what makes it work, you're like, okay, yeah, this isn't just I just pick it up and do it. There's a real science to this. So yeah, pitchers absolutely know something's off, and I know the hitters know something's off. Best example was the home run that Soto hit in Tuesday night's game was hit at a lower launch angle and a lower exit velocity than the ball he hit against the Rays, which I believe was Friday night, that could have turned the game, but Josh Lowe made a leaping catch at the wall on what probably should have been a home run. Instead, it died 4 feet short. And then you see that information Tuesday night, and you're like, oh, that's weird. In this case, he hit it 412 to left center. That's a harder ball to hit out in Atlanta than it should be to hit down the line to right field and Citi Field. Huh. Why is that?
Yeah,
now we know.
The whole thing is just whole thing is just rather it's just rather bizarre. And I don't know. I just don't know if deading the balls like that is necessarily good for business either. I mean, like honestly, like things have been. Although, I mean, this is Rob Manfred we're talking about. I don't know if he's the one making that decision or, if someone under him is deciding what they do with the baseballs. But, you have all these things that are working in your favor for the game. Like attendance is up, games are going by quicker. Like I think, and like all the big market teams are like good right now. Like, so I think that's like very, I think that's very advantageous for the game. Like baseball is better, I think, like when, Yankees, Mets, Dodgers, and even the Cubs, even though I don't like the Cubs, like when all those teams are good, like, it's kind of it's good for business. And I don't know, like making it so home runs get hit less just seems a little counterintuitive.
Yeah, I feel like these past few years have kind of been an overcorrection to, okay, we got it so wrong in 2019 and everybody knew it. Well, now we just got to bring it all the way back the other way. And I don't think that works either. Like, yeah, the top end home run hitting guys are still going to do what they do, but I feel like a balance can be achieved. And I feel like we had it for a while, and then they got greedy trying to chase the power numbers. While the guys didn't have to do anything to themselves. Now it's like, oh, well, we'll just make it easier for them. Well, you made it too easy. And now to overcorrect it, now we're seeing this.
Exactly. They overjuice the balls, and now they're trying to overcorrect that. So hopefully we can just get back to like the happy medium and just keep it there. There's going to be baseball's a game of trends. There's going to be years where hitting's up. There's going to be years where pitching is up. There's going to be years where both are great, which I feel like is usually the case most years lately, that both hitting and pitching is like as good as it's ever been. So like I feel like there's just no need to really mess with that. But final topic before we sign off here is what is like your one boomer baseball take?
So I'm going to split these because one is related to the game and the other is related to around the game.
Okay.
One, I wish there was more speed. I feel like there's become such an emphasis on power and guys where it's either hit it 400 feet or strike out. We don't care, but be one. I mean, you see this. I have the Man of Steel right here. I'm rocking it.
Yeah.
You can't tell me if you didn't drop Ricky Henderson, and take whatever year you want, but anywhere in the 80s, drop that Ricky Henderson into the game right now. You don't think the game would get a lot more pub having a guy like that around? Or even if, like, we just highlighted the fact more that, like, look what Helly's doing. Or look what I don't think Acuna got nearly enough pub for going 40-70. But I feel like there should be not necessarily a de-emphasis on power. That's fine. I am always in favor of there being home runs. But for the speed element and the chaos that it can create. Now, whether you would have to change the pickoff rules, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But having more burners in the game, that's never bad.
Yeah, and like I feel like when they made the bases bigger, that was supposed to like help with that, but it just hasn't really materialized. At least not yet. I feel like
the steal numbers went up a little bit. I just think the higher end guys were just like, oh, cool. Now I got more room to do it.
Yeah. The higher end base stealers are like, all right, I can steal even more bases now. But like, it didn't really turn anyone that wasn't a base stealer into like kind of a base stealer. Like everyone else just kind of stayed where they were at, and it really didn't. I don't think it really changed anything like philosophically for baseball organizations where. It's like, now we got to like worry about this, or like we got to find guys who can do this. Like everyone's still pretty set in their ways as far as like, 3 true outcome type of hitters.
Yeah, like I think they were hoping that the guys who stole like 6 or 7 per year would start stealing 20 in addition to the higher end guys. But it works two ways, because if you have to start worrying about that on the bases, perfect example. Pudge Rodriguez is a Hall of Fame catcher. Everyone knows he was a great hitter. You know what's probably he's equally as remembered for? Having the best arm of any catcher we've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, for as much as he was a good hitter, it was, you just didn't run on him.
You can't run on Pudge.
And imagine, like, if the game became more of a speed game,
you would have
catchers. That would force catchers to get better. You would
have more catchers like that. Like I feel like right now it seems like if your catcher has a hose and like he's like this guy that like other teams are like afraid to run on, that seems like more of a luxury than anything. It seems like the catcher's job is really just to like call the game and just keep everything in front of them.
Yeah, handle the staff.
Yeah.
My non-game related take, and I don't even know if this necessarily relates to baseball because I think it could go into other sports. if you're in the camera shot behind home plate, you know you're on TV. Please stop yamming it up. Like,
Yeah.
we can see you. You know what the camera shot is.
Yeah.
It really is the case where I'm like, act like you've been there. Act like you're supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Like you
Act like
being on your
man.
phone or whatever, that lets me know that you don't think you should be there.
Yeah. I remember Marlins man did that once, and I was calling him out, and I was like tweeting at him. I was like, "Yo, you've been on your phone this entire game. Like, either get off or like either get off your phone and watch the game, or like give your seat to someone who will actually like enjoy it." And then he blocked me.
Marlins man's a bitch. Oh,
I'm a Marlins man hater. Fuck that guy.
Put her there.
Hell yeah.
I feel that way. Like anytime they show the announcers at a basketball game when they have to do the table shot and the people that are directly behind them are starting like, "Hey," it's like, "All right, cool. You're in the first row, dude. Sick."
Yeah. Yeah, like I've never really been in that position to know, but I know I wouldn't be waving like the entire time. You know, I'd probably just be sitting there watching the game. Would probably look a little intoxicated in some way, and I would just be, I would try and just mind my business, and I would try not to do anything that made me look stupid. I think that would be like the main thing.
Yeah, I'm just trying to chill.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I don't know if this is a boomer take, and I know I've expressed it before, but outside of the game, I hate the wave. I don't know if that's
I think we have discussed this.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a boomer take or not, but I don't like the wave. Anti-wave, and I think there should be more wave etiquette, and like nothing irks me more than being at a game, like a close game, like a tie game or a one-run game between, especially if it's like two teams that are like in the thick of a playoff race, and then motherfuckers start doing the wave. Like, I get it, it's whatever. It's a summer night, a Saturday night in the summer. You're there to have fun. I understand, but like, watch the damn game. Like, if it's if it's like 9-0, your team's winning, and nothing's really going on, then sure, have your fun, do the wave, but don't be doing that shit don't be doing that shit like when there's actual baseball going on.
Right.
That would be my boomer like fan take, I guess, like fan behavior take. If it even is a boomer take, I don't really know. Like, I don't know where boomers really stand on the wave, because like the wave did start like at Shea Stadium in the 80s, so it also kind of started.
We debunked that. We did that on the show.
We did debunk that. Yes, you are correct. But it did start like an earlier generation, so boomers are kind of a part of that just as much as they might be against it. But I guess that's like my old man yells at cloud fan take. My actual game take in you may not love this take, and I do make one exception for it, but to me, a hard slide into second base is always just a baseball play. The only exception to that is Chase Utley and what he did. But like literally any other time I've seen a hard slide into second and I saw someone get mad after, I kind of felt like, what are you mad about? Like, it's a sport. It's baseball. I do miss collisions at home plate too, even though I understand why you can't really have them with what we know about CTE and brain damage and stuff like that. I understand why that can't happen, but to me, as long as you're not trying to like break someone's leg or ankles, I think that sliding hard into second to break up the double play will always just be a baseball play to me. I don't have like a well thought out dialogue to back it up. That's just how I feel.
The odd thing about all that, Chris, is that prior to that, I was always in favor of that. Like, how many cool defensive highlights do you see of a middle infield turning two?
Yeah, where the
guy at second's got to get out of the way, or he's got to leap up. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
My issue always with that was he knew he was out. And he didn't even stay on he ran back to the dugout because he knew he was out. And they called nothing. And then the fact that he never apologized to Ruben Tejada for doing it, because the thing I heard for the next week after that was, well, he's just playing hard. We're gonna punish that now. It's like, no, I get it. It's the playoffs. You do what you have to do, but that happened.
He broke his leg.
If
it was an accident, he could have told him, "Hey, sorry, I didn't mean to break your leg."
Yeah, it's like, hey, look, man, I wasn't trying to break your leg. I was trying to keep the inning going. It would have been like man, that sucks, but all right.
Yeah, I'm sure one competitor or another, it's like, yeah, this really sucks, and it doesn't change the situation, but
yeah,
you can understand it a little more.
That was my whole thing, was just that nothing was done on the field. That the Dodgers appealed the suspension and then they just let it go. So he was never penalized for it. He never apologized for it. And
yeah,
he did a midday interview on WFAN a few years ago, and basically just absorbed all the abuse. That I'll never forget. There was one woman that called up and kind of read him for everything, and he just basically have a nice day, sweetheart. And it's so we're just cool with this, huh?
Yeah,
because he played in Philly, because Mets bad. We just think this is funny, huh? That's my whole thing. It like I said, most other times I like seeing an infielder have to make the play. That's cool. Someone once said, Ricky Henderson used to do this thing. He was a linebacker in high school. He used to be a problem at second base, where it's you had to get out of the way of him, and that could mess up a double play because you had to hurry your throw. Yeah. You didn't want to get trucked. I have a problem with that one instance, but I don't think it should have completely rewritten the game. It's unfortunate what happened to Ruben Tejada. Absolutely. I'm sure if you ask Ruben Tejada now, he's yeah, it affected my career, but I don't want the game to change because of that. It happened one time. How many other guys have been genuinely affected like that? Probably not a lot.
Yeah, I think if I played and something like that happened to me, as much as it would suck, the last thing I would want is for people to change rules because of me or something that happened to me.
Yeah, all right, yeah, I just got unlucky.
Shit, I remember sliding hard in a second to break up a double play playing kickball once. You gotta do what you gotta do. I didn't try and hurt anybody, but yeah, I slid in hard and I did break up that double play, so it worked.
I always like to say, if you want sportsmanship, take your ass to golf.
Yeah.
But no, I generally agree with that. And funny enough, because we were just talking about the Giants trade and Buster Posey is the GM.
Yeah.
I don't even know, because that happened right after the Giants won their first title. I don't know if the CTE thing had become the issue that it is now.
That was 2010. So I think that was just when it was first starting, because I remember in football, that was when they just started to crack down on helmet to helmet hits.
But I think the home plate thing happened because Buster Posey broke his leg and it cost him the season. And I think MLB was basically well, we can't be losing dudes because of this. Especially we can't lose stars because of this.
Yeah, and there were a lot of back then there were a lot of star catchers in the league.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it definitely made sense. I think that was a more necessary rule change than oh yeah, you just can't slide hard into second anymore. But yeah, I mean, I've had other boomer takes that I feel got I just got debunked just by seeing them in action. I was kind of against the ABS system, but then after going to spring training game and just seeing how easy it is, it's okay, yeah, why wouldn't we do this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I guess we were talking about with rivalries before, I wouldn't mind seeing players take shit a little more personally in that regard too. I think that could make things more fun.
I say this all the time. I legitimately don't ever remember seeing the Mets getting into an actual brawl. I've seen the benches empty. I genuinely don't know if I've ever seen. I mean, I know the Mets have because I know the '86 Mets fought like 6 times.
Yeah,
I don't ever remember
6
watching a
times a
Mets
week.
team fight. I would like to see it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, the Yankees have had a few memorable brawls. I mean, they had that one brawl in '98, which they say like really like sparked that team. Obviously, you had the 2003 brawl with the Red Sox with in the ALCS, and then '04, '04. What's his name threw it? I forget who it was, but someone threw it A-Rod, and then A-Rod and
Bronson Arroyo.
Yeah, it was Bronson Arroyo, and then A-Rod and Veritek got into the fight. They had a pretty good brawl with the Tigers back in like 2017, and then
with Miggy and Gary Sanchez.
yeah, and then in 2018 when Joe Kelly threw at Tyler Austin. Honestly, like I watched like a compilation of like Joe Kelly like throwing at people, and it's honestly hilarious like how much he just like, because like it wasn't just that he would throw at people, like he would throw inside like the pitch or two before that and like miss. So it was like by the third time where he got you, it was just so obvious that he's just throwing at you.
And he's managed to last this long.
Yeah, it's a wonder he didn't get into more shit, and he did get into some shit. But yeah, that brawl was that was a pretty good brawl.
I don't know if this is a boomer take because I know you brought it up. Don Zimmer had it coming.
Yeah, I don't know if that's I don't know if that's a boomer take actually, but yeah, I mean, classic example of just playing stupid games and winning stupid prizes.
Right. like what the dude in his 30s who is a world-class athlete and is on your blood rival is just supposed to let you dot him? Like,
yeah.
What?
Yeah, and I think honestly, like I think Pedro's response was pretty appropriate. Like, all right, the 72-year-old man is running at me. I'm just gonna kind of throw him into the ground. I'm not gonna punch him. I'm not gonna like stomp on him or anything like that. Just gonna like throw him into the ground. Just get the like human projectile out of my way.
Someone said he used a judo move. He used Zimmer's momentum against him, and he just guided him.
Yeah.
Like he really could have done damage there if he wanted to, but he didn't.
Yeah. Who do you think would win? 100 Don Zimmers or 1 Pedro Martinez?
Well, now, are these like miniature Don Zimmers, or are we talking like regular size Don Zimmers?
That's a good question. I saw a meme about it, and I didn't really think that deeply into it. So I assume they'd probably be regular sized Don Zimmers.
That does throw things for a loop because it's just.
I do think Pedro. I think Pedro would fend off the first 10 without issue, but like after that, it might start to get dicey. If they were miniature, I think Pedro still definitely wins.
Now, it would depend in the heat of the moment, but I feel like it's one of those things that once you're reminded of it, you don't forget it. And it's that Zimmer has a plate in his head, or had a plate in his head. So if you're just surrounded by 100 Zimmers, like I'm finding the plate.
Yeah,
like,
in each head.
You're done. Boom, you're done. Boom, you're done.
Just bonk.
Yeah, I'm incapacitating you, and you're done.
Yeah.
Because it would get tough because he probably doesn't have a lot of strength in the punches, but also it's like you just got to keep like ducking. It's like, where's that one coming from? You know, like it's more just the irritation of what the fuck.
Yeah,
as opposed to like I'm not facing like 100 Deontay Wilders,
right?
Like, well, yeah, I'm losing that fight.
Yeah, like with Don Zimmer, it's like, all right, yeah, he's not really capable of all that much as far as like doing damage. It's more so just like but like 100 of them, like just 100 human projectiles, I feel like it would be a lot to overcome even for like a world-class athlete like Pedro.
Like just the amount of strikes that he's, again, even if it's not the most powerful, like they're still getting strikes on you.
Yeah,
that's gonna do a number eventually.
100%. Yeah. Well, I think
That's a great close, though. If that's what we're
yeah, that is a great way to close. Do you have any final words before we sign off for the night?
No, just if you ever get the benefit of being behind the plate and you're on TV, just be cool.
Just chill. Yeah, just chill. Enjoy it. I hope to. I hope to one day. I mean, I've sat behind home plate like first or second row at like minor league games, but
Same.
I've never been like in the vicinity. Like I never had like home plate like like right behind home plate seats at like an MLB game, and it's definitely like a bucket list, a thing to do on the bucket list. But yeah, when it happens, I hope that I can act cool. But yeah, that'll do it. Yeah, that'll do it for us here today. So thank you all again for tuning in. Thank you for supporting us and the Ascension Podcast Network, and we will talk to you next week. Bye.